Hi, I'm sorry for being so late this week getting information up. I was thrown for a loop by the time change. You may think, well, you gained an hour. What's your problem? Well, when you have fibromyalgia and lupus like I do, any change in your schedule kind of screws you up. And I have been really slow and out of it this week. My eating schedule, my sleeping schedule, the whole bit. And on top of that, my dog's sleeping schedule has been different because of the time change. And those of you with pets know what that's like. Okay, let's get started. This week, we're talking about genocide. Now, we have been talking about genocide all semester. And genocide became a primary... Okay, it became one of the primary charges of the UN, of the United Nations, which was formed after World War II. It became one of the prime, it became the prime body that is supposed to deal with genocide. So in 1948, when it was defined, genocide was defined, the legal definition is any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. And what are the things that these acts, what could these acts be? Killing members of the group, causing seriously bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group, and forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. So there are many different ways that genocide can be conducted, and realize, too, that more than one of these ways can happen, and you probably are sitting there thinking, well, Hitler did all these things. Remember that the genocide definition came out of the Holocaust. And what did he do? Well, he tried to get rid of the entire Jewish faith, which is the first part there. Trying to get rid of them by killing, which he did in the concentration camps and the ghettos, just if they were walking on the street. Causing seriously bodily or mental harm to members of the group. The terror they must have felt when Hitler first started in doing his sanctions would be some of the mental harm in the ghettos, in hiding in the concentration camps. All of these things were things that Hitler did, especially imposing measures intended to prevent births of the group. Okay, now, Genocide Watch, which I'm going to go to right now, has 10 stages of genocide. And let's just go directly to those. They have further taken the idea of genocide and divided it into the stages that people go through, or a group goes through, when they decide to wipe out another group. And you're going to see, as this comes up, let's have some interlude music, that there are 10 stages, and many of these, when you look at it, will fit the stages that Hitler went through. Again, that is the one and only the main example that people use when they refer to genocide. The first thing that happens is classification, and you can go to, it's really easy to find, www.genocidewatch.com, and then the 10 stages of genocide. The first is classifications, that is pushing people into the us versus them, either by ethnicity, race, religion, nationality, the us versus in. The examples they give on their page, German and Jews, Hutu and Tutsis. Many of these things happen when there are groups. You're seeing it in Iraq right now, that they are not having trouble. Oops, that's my other one that I made. That they are, the Kurds want to be independent, and the Kurds for years have been killed by Iraqis, and now Iraq's a little bit upset because the Kurds want to break off, and so who knows, that could be a potential genocide. They have attacked and almost killed all the Kurds years ago. Could happen again. The other thing is symbolization. We give names to the classifications. We name them like Jews and Gypsies to give them these groups. Sometimes the names are derogatory, but this group is a word that you use when talking about that group. Another one is discrimination, and this is laws, customs, and political power. You remember the Nazis stripped them of all power, of all citizenship, so that they could stay in power. And so this has to do with being full members of the society. As the group that they're going after, powerless because they are not members of society. Another thing is dehumanization. They talk about them as animals, vermin. We saw this. Well, it happens in other places where things are happening. Organization. Genocide is always organized. And it's used by the state to, usually with militias and with, not really the military, but with other people going out to try to kill these people, these mobs, or the mobs are doing that, because the state wants to kind of distance itself from the action. Now, Hitler didn't care, but we're finding now that the state doesn't want it to be associated with it. Another thing is polarization. That has to do with creating propaganda, broadcasting propaganda, forbidding any type of social interaction, no marriages, those kind of fundamental liberties. And then preparation. The group gets together and decides how they are going to take care of the problem. They may call it counterterrorism. They may call it ethnic cleansing, but they are trying to get it together. Of course, they persecute these people. Sometimes they torture them, even though they know they're going to attack them. And finally, the last stage is extermination, or the worst stage is extermination and denial, the idea that we didn't do this. It has nothing to do with us. So as you're working on your finding your idea for genocide, you want to use, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So many things are coming up on my thing today. You want to use the UN definition to kind of begin it, and then if you're still unsure about it, you might want to use these stages of, where are they? The stages of, to see how many of those stages they fit. If you should be able to find, unfortunately, an example of genocide from this century. If it doesn't fit all the stages, if it's one that you think is going to be declared a genocide soon, you can use that too. Another good thing about Genocide Watch, if we go back to the first page, they have alerts where you can see the latest news about genocides, the countries that are at risk for genocides, more information about what it is. Even talks about the way they deny genocide, okay? So there's a lot right here. The latest news is just, it's happening Pakistan, it's happening in Myanmar. That's what used to be called Burma. What's happening in North Korea. You know, they give you a lot of ideas here. So Hopefully you'll be able to find one. I know you will. Everybody always does. But this is a really good site just to kind of look around. Now, when it comes to your actual, what you're going to be doing, you're going to be writing about one of the genocides. But what I want to show you is, and this is very important, and I know you're thinking, oh, I don't have time for this. Read one or two of the, watch one or two of these. The second's with Wiesel, and my heart's always there. But watch both of them, or at least one of them all the way through. They're going to give you, this is from the documentary Genocide Worse Than War, which is an excellent documentary. And this was Wiesel being interviewed. What you're going to do, as I said, is you're going to summarize your genocide. Since I am late getting this up, take till Friday to post it. And that should say by Sunday. I'll change that. By Sunday, you'll read all your posts, okay? So I'm going to change that right now. Yay, I'm changing. I'm going to change this to Friday. Give you more time. And this is always Sunday. I don't know why Saturday got there. I probably was having people turn things in on Saturday and just didn't catch this one. Okay, update. All right. That's all you have to do this week, but because you've got to continue to read Mischling, okay? Here's the log, and you've got to, it's a long book. You think, oh, I'll just read it that week. No, it won't happen. Believe me. But it's a really good book. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Sorry for the lateness of this. I'll try not to let it happen again.